Welcome to the Spiritual Citizen. My today's guest is Ms. Rashi Narayan. Rashi is the founder of the largest chain of pet stores in India. Heads up for change. It was Sarah, her first pet, who inspired her to get into this business. She has started a campaign with Pedigree for Indian Dogs, #FullBelly. They have vet connections from United Kingdom and complete online vet support. There are more than 1,000 products, 49 stores spread across 5 cities, and 80 brands collaborating with them. Her business acumen made her a young millionaire rather quickly. She's a recipient of many prestigious awards, some of which are: in 2017, 19, and 21, she received Brand of the Year Award. In 2016, Lufthansa Runway to Success Award. In 2018, Women Icon Awards Asia, which is held in Singapore. Digital Women's Award by She the People TV. She Sparks Award by Your Story in March 2018. In 2018, she also found a mention as 15 most impactful social investors by the Global CSR Awards. This is just an abridged version of the awards and accolades which she has received. So let's meet our beautiful soul, Ms. Rashi Narayan, who believes in treating pets as family. Rashi, and welcome to the Spiritual Citizen. You know, I met you very long time back in an exhibition which was, I think, curated by Flo, and I was so fascinated with the animal products which you're having in your kiosk. And can you imagine? I still remember that lovely designer T-shirt which was there. And, and since then you have grown from strength to strength. And, we all know about your love for Sarah. So please tell us something about Sarah, the magic between both of you, and how she inspired you to start your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much, first of all, Auntie, for having me here on your channel. It's lovely for me to be connected to you for so many years. You've been one of our first customers, and you've been such a big supporter in so many different ways. And for that, I'll always be very grateful. So thank you so much.
My honor, honestly.
Talking about Sarah, she was a little furball of naughtiness and love, and she came to me tiny, and being really responsible for her. I wanted her to live her best life, and when I tried to find products to enable her to do that, I wasn't able to, and I saw a big gap in the market. So she really came in and changed the course of my life, pushing me to go out there and build those products that I couldn't find, not just for her, but then, extend it to heaps of dogs and cats in the country. So she was and will be very, very special. But that said, I also want to say that for every family and for every person, their dog is the most special. And so everybody has the most special dog. And I just, what amazes me about animals, and especially our companion animals, dogs and cats in particular, is how beautifully they bring out the best in us, how they push us to be the best version, and how much faith they have in our goodness that really makes us want to be our very best. And so I think that with that we set out a big vision of hoping that every home in the country can experience the joy of raising pets as family. And I owe a lot of it to Sarah.
So how does it feel to make Sarah immortal through your work? And do you think she's your guardian angel?
That's an interesting way to think about it. I definitely feel that she's watching over me. And the intention is really for me to honor her life, the way that she lived it, by doing whatever we can for pet people and their companions. And it is a very, very fulfilling thought.
Mm-hmm. And Rashi, you have the strength of steel and a heart full of passion. And the way you have, taken care of your business. But in between, you were away from the country. So how did you handle those tough times? Because those were the initial days of your work as well.
yes, they were extremely challenging, to say the least. But I think that I've woken up with this fire in my belly for the last many years, and I've just been so committed to doing what I'm doing that I'm not counting the time that it takes, because we've gone slow for a long time. Especially during that first 8 years, it was extremely slow, one step at a time, trying to do this remotely. But I think that, when I think back to the purpose, when I think back to our mission, to our vision, and how we want to be able to make lives of animals better, and how we want to be able to connect people to their pets more, I think that if you find your why, then you'll always find a way to get it done, no matter how many stumbles there may be in the way. So for me, that is really my why. And so the what and the how, just come no matter what.
So, do you think your why is your purpose?
Definitely. Absolutely. I feel it so deep inside, and I hope that we can just serve the best that we can.
Rashi, I have seen you grow from strength to strength, and you are probably one of the young millionaires in the country, and rather quickly. So, what I want to ask you here is, when you started working, Heads Up for Tail started gaining popularity by word of mouth, probably because of the quality you were providing. So, do you think word of mouth advertising does help in a business?
I think that there's nothing more powerful than word of mouth. Today, you may read in the newspaper about XYZ restaurant or a particular service or a particular business. But when someone that you trust comes and tells you, let's go eat at this place, oh my God, the XYZ dish was amazing, there's nothing stronger than that. Um, that will convince you to actually do it. And I feel that people trust reviews, honest opinions of other people, especially for us, it's a small pet community, and so I think that it's word of mouth is really one of the best, the strongest, and most honest forms of marketing. And for me and for all of my team, we've learned so much from our customers. So when we get a review, which is not always a 5 star, listening to it, staying close to our customers, talking to them, whether it's the shop floor, whether it's a Google review, understanding what's working, what's not. That feedback is something that we are constantly taking back and making improvements, and that's never failed us. And I hope that we can continue to do that and build on that always.
Mhm. And people trust your brand Heads Up for Tails so much, and it's amazing the way you have kept on that trust, and especially what I always feel, Rashi, whenever I go into one of your stores, that your stores are all customer centric, and you really see to it that every customer with every need is taken care of, and I think that's remarkable. So, Rashi, let's talk a little bit about Indian dogs with you, because I
Yes.
know you are doing so much for them, especially your hashtag full belly movement with pedigree,
Yes.
right? Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and we also know that even they speak. Only thing we need
Of
is to open the ears of our heart, and we can listen to them,
Yes.
because everything is in their eyes as well. So, we have something like 40 million population of Indian dogs, and which is also rapidly increasing. And despite tremendous efforts from all the animal caregivers, why do you think their population is increasing?
I feel that their population is increasing because we've left it to a very small section of people to take care of a very large problem. And the problem is just much larger than the number of people addressing it. It's honestly just that simple. So, what we need to do is come forward and contribute to animal welfare. These animals are all part of our neighborhoods, and it is our community responsibility to be able to go in and care for them. The shelter workers, the hospital workers, the welfare workers, they're all taking on a huge, tremendous task, and we need to help them by doing our bit. And honestly, everybody can pitch in. Everyone can help to fight cruelty to strays so that they aren't frightened by people. If that happens, it's easier to vaccinate them, it's easier to sterilize them. Contributions to vaccination and sterilization for your neighborhood makes such a big difference. And just, I think, reaching out to like-minded people and working together, this huge project needs collaboration at a very big level. And we all need to work towards a more peaceful coexistence, because we always say through the Haft Foundation and the work that we do there that the planet is not ours, it's a shared planet, and we need to remember it. It's not them versus us. This is their home too, and we need to be able to respect that and coexist peacefully with all urban animals, and of course all animals in particular, but I'm just addressing urban animals in this context.
Mhm. I think that's very well put, and you have really come across very well about this. That we have to do and make the effort as community at large, and we have to collaborate with each other so that more can be achieved. So Rashi, every NGO who is working in the field of welfare is actually doing an excellent job. I really enjoy looking at them with so much of animal hair all over their body, running around, taking care of the pets, feeding them, taking them to the doctor, and everything. But most of these NGOs, unfortunately, are dependent upon donations and grants. So, do you think even these NGOs should have a good business model? And do you think they should work towards also making themselves self sustainable instead of completely depending upon government grants and such things?
Yes, I absolutely do. The cost of running the shelter is enormous. Medical bills and people bills and so many bills stack up quickly. We work closely with many, and so I hear these stories first-handed. And NGOs are looking for ways to sustain themselves. Many of them are building out merchandise to help with their efforts. There are volunteers, etc. But I think that when NGOs think of activities, their core activities, they only think of uh, the place where their heart is, which is where they're making the impact. Helping one animal at a time. But I think that to be able to sustain and grow this, we need NGOs to add fundraising as a very serious vertical, within their organizations. But that said, I also feel like no NGO can tackle this single handedly. This has to be a community effort. There have to be community contributions, and there has to be that change in mindset that we are all collectively responsible for what is going on. And everyone who can help out, and everyone can in so many ways, definitely should.
Mhm. And there is also a new drive where people are being encouraged to adopt Indian dogs. And in fact, I think you also have an Indian baby at your home. Am I right?
I, I do,
Yeah.
Poppins.
So, how do you think, we can remove the fear and ignorance from people's heart regarding the Indian dogs, especially those, who are not very fond of them?
I think that fear is built up when you've heard certain negative things, and if you spend time with an indie or indie pups, all your reservations are going to drop off. They are just amazing. They are resilient. They are great with families. Um, they are strong. They are just adorable in every way. And I think that what we need to change is a mindset, and why do we bring dogs home? We bring them home for companionship, we bring them home for love, and doesn't matter what the breed, the dog is still going to give us companionship and love. So I think that it's just about education. It's about a shift in mindset, and I think that the more people do it, you'll realize that they're just amazing, and they're Indian, just like us. So why have a bias? They may not be suitable for your family. Just when you're doing a breed selection, you may say, okay, I need a smaller dog, or I need a dog that may not be so active when it comes to lifestyle. So depending on your age and your lifestyle, when you're thinking about a breed, what we want to do is put the indie on that list so that at least they are suitably fairly evaluated. And um, and honestly, they're amazing. I hope that more people will give them a chance because they truly are incredible.
And they're a very sturdy breed. They get less infections and they're more sturdy and more robust, and they're very protective. They're very protective about their owners. In my
Definitely.
case, I had
No,
to.
they really are wonderful. And I'm not sure. Sorry, I think that they are really wonderful, and I'm not sure where this has come from. I mean, a dog is a dog at the end of the day.
Right. I totally agree with that. So, Rashi, if I have your permission, I want to narrate a little story about my own self. Do I have your permission?
Of course.
This is related to actually my next question. So I thought maybe I can cite by example. We have seen that senior pets go through anxiety and depression, whether they are on road or whether they are at home. So what happened was when I lost my baby, my rescue baby, as you can see, it's a beautiful Havanese. This is my memory wall over there, Tango. And so at that point of time, it was very difficult for me to process my own grief because my other pet, who is also 15 years old, was grieving him a lot. And he kept on looking out for him in toilets and balconies, wherever he was going. And he thought that probably, I have gone and dropped him somewhere. So it became a very big responsibility for me to take care of his grief. And for the first time, I realized that he can have anxiety and he can have depression. He feel very isolated because for so many years they were companions and they were sleeping on the floor together and things like that. So how do you think, the issue of depression and isolation in animals, senior dogs especially, whether they are on the street or at home, should be taken care of? Because even they go through that just like us.
Absolutely. I personally think that anxiety and depression, it's not just limited to senior dogs. It can happen to a dog of any breed, any age. They can develop anxieties, they can develop depression over so many things. They also pick up on our feelings. So depending on what we are going through in our life, it really cascades down, and they take on a lot of that, from us. So I think it's up to us as guardians, as pet parents, to work with, first of all, be aware of this, understand it, and to seek help. Today there are so many certified behaviorists or trainers who can help us understand our pets better, on how to create a better environment. And honestly, like, just depending on experiences, so many dogs can develop fears and anxiety and so many other behavioral issues, but all of it can be worked out with patience and commitment, and most of all, understanding. So I'm so glad that you brought this up, because many people don't even realize that their dog may be going through fear, anxiousness, mental health. It totally is a glimpse of being locked up at home, um, and having not enough mental stimulation. And we saw a big rise in people talking about mental health, and the same applies for our dog too. It's so important that we think about how to stimulate their senses. They can't eat the same food every day, they can't go for the same walk and the same round every single day. They need to be able to smell different things, they need to be able to have variety in taste, in sound, in sight, in smell. And so I think if we're able to understand this and appreciate them, the species that they are, then we'll just be working closely to make sure that that very special furry family member stays healthy, not just physically, but also mentally.
So basically, it is just like human beings. If we are made to stay in one room for the rest of our life or just do the same routine for the rest of our life, it can kind of impact our psychology as well. So same,
Yes,
I guess, is the case with our furry babies, and the emotions are actually the same. I mean, you and I mean, we just know that. And
Yes.
their emotions are no different. Only thing is they don't have words, but they speak more than with their eyes and their body and everything. So, Rashi, coming to
Sure,
the
sure.
last question, which is I think is extremely important for most people to understand, is that we also know that dogs are like free therapists. And what I want to ask you here is, why do you think it's so necessary to sensitize children and people who are not too fond of them about their feelings and the way they help us also in becoming a better person? And what do you think we should do towards it, and how what kind of a movement is required for that?
I think that when it comes to our indies, our streeties, the big message that needs to go out is that they have every right to live amongst us, and the world belongs to all of us. And so, what even we're trying to do with the Heads Up for Tails Foundation was really to create educational programs that taught children in particular about safe practices, how to understand a dog body language, how to be able to greet a dog. That can help prevent a lot of bites, removing negative misconceptions. We were going into slum areas where if they see a dog, they just pick up a stone and throw. And I think children are so open to love, to connection, and we took dogs into those schools and to the schools, and we've been doing a couple of online workshops, and it's actually incredible to see how much compassion exists at the child level. But slowly, as we grow up, the world teaches you to become stronger and let it go. So I think that especially when you're a child, that's really when there needs to be a lot more programs around more peaceful coexistence, and education, because honestly you're going to take care of what you understand, and what you understand is, if you can understand dogs and urban animals and all, I mean, nature and all that you're sharing your life and the earth with, you're going to care about them more and protect it more. So, and even when it comes to bringing home a pet, I would love to share the message that it's not about one breed over another breed. um, it's about looking at the dog, their personality, their temperament, their lifestyle, to think about what works better for your situation, and also to committing to caring for the dog until his or her end of life. We see here so many stories of pets being abandoned when they're older, when they're sick, when they're, I mean, midlife. So many different issues. People are leaving the country, they'll abandon their pet. They're having a puppy, or they're having a baby. The mindset change is just so important right now, and that's what we need to, for both children and adults. And even if you're not fond of them, you don't have to go out of your way to harm them. So if you're not keen to look out for your community animals or keeping pets at home, that's fine. But as long as you can just be respectful, and that's how species will have to coexist on the planet.
Yes, yes. And I think you have put it very rightly. I'll like to end by saying, Rashid, that today I really had a lovely time because, this is my favorite topic, the topic on which we have spoken today. And, I'm so proud of you as, I've seen you as a young girl who has grown from strength to strength, who have made a business empire, whom everybody trusts, who's doing so much for the Indian dogs and other street animals through your foundation. And it really warms up my heart. And I'm so glad that I know you. And thank you so much for being a part
Thank
of the spiritual citizen. Thank you very much.
you. It's not just me, but I have to give it to my whole team. Without them, I wouldn't be able to bring any of this to life. So, all thanks to them. And thank you so much to you for all your support through these years.
And that's a good leader because a good leader always know that they have the team to support them. That's the back.